The name says it all.
Show with Nikki G and Juliette.
Nikki G and Juliette.
The name says it all.
Show with Nikki G and Juliette.
Nikki G and Juliette.
Alright, so we making a remix here, right? This is how my projects normally are. The name of the song is Savage by Bungie Garlin, right? It is a pretty simple song. We ain't doing a full track remix where we just doing just like a simple intro, right? So to start it off, we have a 808 section, right? We have the 808, right? And then we have the sample, right? Then down here we have the percussion section, which is this.
Welcome to Table Talk with Juliette and Nikki G and Juliette.
Welcome.
We're on today with Pepsi, well-known Pepsi, who is the, how should I say, the CEO? Or
I am
how to put it? I am the CEO, yes, but I also have a managing director as well. I have a lot of people that work together when it comes to content creation. And I do most of the work. Carbon Media right now is basically 4 people, which is me, my wife. I have a social media manager, and I have a official registered DJ under Carbon Media, only one so far.
Oh, really?
He goes by the name of Selector Kalu.
Oh, Kalu.
And he's the official Carbon Media DJ for now. In a few months when things open back up, because right now things kind of hard in Trinidad, in where there's no entertainment sector, everything is closed when it comes to entertainment. So there isn't any parties, events, any kind of entertainment type stuff.
Yeah.
So I plan to expand and include more DJs in where to basically get people to carry the Carbon Media brand. Because what will usually happen is that DJs, because I was a DJ, I retired from DJing a few years now. Because in the DJ industry, what usually happens is that there's a lot of negativity amongst the industry in certain places, and there are a lot of DJs that basically over these small, simple things that they're always fighting, arguing. It don't have a sense of unity amongst DJs, meaning that yes, there are back in the days it had things called sound systems, and it had little small groups, but now it don't have as much. It's not as popular anymore. And the song systems that do exist, like Taros Movement and Radioactive, is a lot of older guys that was in it from back in the days and from how much ever years ago. And now we have a new age of DJs and producers, and everybody just it are people who rather be on the side, do their own thing. And then there are guys who are new DJs that would like to get into the industry. They don't know where to get music. They don't have any guidance, any advice. They don't know what to do or how to market themselves, and how to operate and how to get gigs. And what I basically want to do, or the whole purpose of Carbon Media, is basically a music distribution service. So what I will do is that you'd send your music to me and I will upload it for you. Or we have a section of Carbon Media in where that we do content evaluation, meaning that you send your song to us, and basically a group of producers, DJs, the WhatsApp, it have 2 groups. It have a WhatsApp group that everybody know about, and then there's the content evaluation group in where that with experienced producers and DJs and people that I have met over the years, in where that they would sit and basically evaluate certain songs, and they would speak to the artists, speak to the producers, and tell them, You should change this, you should fix this, you could do this, that, you know.
Yeah.
So what I basically want to do is bring everything together, meaning that if you have a for instance, say if you have a wedding, right? You as a bride or a groom, right? You don't want to be looking for a DJ, you don't want to be looking for a sound engineer, you don't want to be looking for lights. What I want to do and what I plan to do in the next 5 to 10 years is basically say, all right, well, here's this, right? We have a wedding package, and in that package, you're getting photographer, videographer, lights, again, DJ, again,
Wow.
everything in
So it's a
one
one-stop
package,
shop.
right? In one big package. And I would basically have like contingency plans in place, right? Since I am on top of the entire organization, I could do almost everything. So you see, like for instance, you have a package and a DJ doesn't show up, or a DJ is unable to show up.
Yeah.
I could fill any space because I could DJ, I could produce, I could do lights, I could do everything. And I also have a group of people in where I could, you know, it's just because you who want to throw an event or a birthday party, whether it be a pool party, whether it be a graduation, you don't want to think about the fine details, and you don't want to be thinking about where the DJ or where the photographer, where this one or where that one, and I need an event planner, and you know, you don't want to be focused. You want to be focused on a big day. You want to be focused on the event. You want to be focused on, you know, on the important things. You don't want to be dwelling on like the small things, like where this person and that person, and you know. So it's just to make everything easy.
True.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great organization. Like you
Yeah.
have everything down pat.
I'm here saying he already just answered pretty much 9 of my questions. This is crazy.
I know. But what I'd like to do is, because you know, we went from the introduction straight into everything you did. You covered the whole thing. So now what we want to do, we want to track back, because we want people to know where you started. You know, we read your bio and everything, and your bio is great. So we want people out there to know, you know, how did it start for Pepsi? You know, what made you get into this? Was it love for music? Was it just love for entertainment? You know, what started you as a person before you got the name Pepsi?
Well, it basically started from as young as when I was a child. My father at the time was an electrician, so I was always interested in complicated, small electrical things, right? And I remember for my graduation, I said that I wanted to be, when there's a section at the end of the kindergarten graduation, and where you come up on stage and you say what you want to be when you grow up, and everybody wanted to be doctors and lawyers, and you know, and I was the only person to come up on stage and say I wanted to be an electrician. And everybody was watching me like, okay, you know, because it's something that a child wouldn't normally say. And at 5 years old, to get a word out like that while you're on stage and everybody watching you was a big deal. And everybody was like, you know, well, you really want to pursue this and whatnot. And at the age 7, I always had an interest in small electrical things. I dismantled the alarm clock, like broke it up into little pieces. I was able to put it back together.
Wait, did you say at 7? You said 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though I got in a lot of trouble for it, because even though the alarm clock, I was able to put it back together. It had like the buzzer, like for the alarm to go off. That was one of the few parts I probably forget to put back. So when I put the alarm clock back together, it come on, the time was showing, music was playing, but when it's time for the alarm didn't go off. And my mom, she had her old school, like them old school alarm clocks. And the alarm didn't go off, and she was late for work, and she was so mad. So yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for that. And coming up the years, I actually broke down a lot of different electronics, fans, radios, stereo, cassettes, TVs, all of these little different things over the years. It had a few times some of those things put me in the hospital, electrocution, burns, whatever, as a child, you know. And then after a while, I realized that it's not just about electrical things, it's a bigger scope in way that I started to get into computers and phones and other devices and not just random home appliances.
Yeah.
And um at about 8 or 9, my both parents passed away and I was
Oh,
adopted. So
Yeah,
my
sorry.
dreams
sorry.
my dreams for electronics. The person that I was adopted by, she wanted us to be, well, me and my sisters, she wanted us to be lawyers and doctors. She didn't want us,
Mm.
to be no electrician. And she want to, she don't want those, small scale type jobs. She wanted children
Yeah,
who wanted to be, lawyers and doctors and
something.
all of these,
Right.
Yeah,
something out there. And I
yeah.
always wanted to be what I wanted to be.
Mm.
And as the years go by, I started secondary school at 12, and I had a friend by the name of Christian. And at the time, he had a computer at home, his mom's computer, and they had like a separate little room in where we used to go down and play games and whatever. And then one day he was like, "Yo, I have a program on this computer here that is make music and stuff. You want to try it?" So I was like, "Yeah, all right, let me try it and see." So my first beat it was horrible, right? This is our first time thing, but it was horrible, right? And every day after school, I would go by him and we would make little beats. And, every day, every time we do a different one, it would just get better and better and better.
That's
And then we found out a way how to connect a mic. So we started singing on top of the most random noises. And after a while, it eventually started to evolve up to a point where I got into the music class at school,
mm.
and my music teacher was Christopher Tambo Herbert. He's a well-known calypsonian,
I remember him.
and
Yeah.
he said that, well, Shane, you have a talent, you have a knack for this thing, try it,
Mm.
right? But in school, they deal with more the practical aspect of music, meaning like
Yes,
the notes and the
The
clef and
notes.
the this and the
Yeah.
that and the other.
you
And
had
those
to know
things
that.
always, it always had me lost. I could never figure it out. Up to this
Mm.
day, if you tell me, hey, give me a G sharp, I will watch you like,
What you
what?
talking about?
But yeah, right. But the way how I analyze music in my head is that what I realized after a while is that each note is connected to a frequency.
Yes.
So that is how I was able to figure out, all right, well, this frequency is this note and this frequency is that note and whatever. So after a
Mhm.
while, I kind of connected the dots in that way. But even if you still come and ask me about notes, I would still be lost. In school, I after a while, the principal of the school, she basically she said that, the practical part of music not working out for you. So here
Hmm.
what, right? I will create something for you to leave school with, meaning that she actually created uh I wouldn't say a subject, but like a course within the school curriculum to include,
Wow.
well, to include me, because I was
Right.
unable to, the way how CXC
To
is in
grasp
Trinidad
it.
is that you need to pass both the practical and the theory
Yes.
part to pass the
Mm-hmm.
subject. And she knew that, the theory part of it wasn't working out. So she said, well, all right, I will create something for you. I'll create a little sound engineering kind of thing for you. And, when I leave school, we will kind of give you that as a credit. We give a little certificate and put a little bow on it and call it a day. And every time the school had events, whether they had like announcements, they had like small scale school parties and whatnot, they would basically call me and I would go up on stage and kind of hook up all the equipment and play the music
That's
and control all the
good.
levels. And
Wow.
and I did that for a few years while I was in school. But
Mhm.
learning all of these things also came with me being a teenager, right? And
Yeah.
I would use the same equipment, the school equipment, and I would have like something where we call in Trinidad a dollar party, in where that you find the furthest classroom in the school, all the way up to the back, and they
Yes.
would seal it off and you charge people $1 to enter,
Come in.
you play music, I got in a lot of trouble for that. And
I
what used to
remember that.
happen is that the security would seize the equipment, right? Thinking it's my equipment, not knowing it's the school equipment. So every time they seize it, the school basically seizing their own equipment. So every time they take it, it will end up right back. So it was just a never-ending, it was a never-ending cycle, right? And while I was in school, our government at the time, they had a program in where every new entrant or every new Form 1 student into the school, they would give them a laptop. So after a while, I got access to a laptop as well because of my living situation and where I was adopted. And, I was doing good, but, I still needed help with projects and whatever. So I was able to get a laptop while I was in school to basically do what I had to do, even though most of it was used for practicing with music and whatnot. I kind of use it for the purpose that it was for anyway, right? And I had that laptop for about 10 years.
Wow.
About 10. I still have it. The screen cracks, so it don't really work anymore, but the bottom half of it's still working. But over the years, I would do house parties, I would do like small scale events, and then I got a call from the Ministry of Training in Trinidad. We have a ministry in where that they train, they do practical things like welding and and they had a conference, kind of event in the Center of Excellence. This was in 2011, 2012. And they said that, well, we hear about you. So, come and do a thing for you. And they had fashion show, they had events, they had the minister at the time up on stage, and I had to be up on stage introducing everybody. And at the time I was about 15, 16, and I was so tiny and short at the time. And I said, I up on the stage and I'm like coming up next, take this person, whatever.
So you're
and
not
I was
shy.
so
You're
nervous.
not shy at all.
I was never really shy, but I was so nervous, because you're going up on stage,
a lot of crowd
and
now.
the crowd is only school children, right? Everybody, most 99% of the crowd is school children. And so you have to come up on stage and entertain them. You had to tell jokes, you had to talk, you had to talk things that they would know, because at the time I was in the same bracket as all of them. So I know how to talk to them, and I come up on the stage and dance or something, I had a little kind of small scale dance competition in between, and even though that wasn't really on the roster, on the so, and well, it was my first big gig, but I wasn't paid for it, obviously, because child labor. They gave me some drinks, and they gave me some little small scale things. They allowed me to take one of their speakers home.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah.
So drinks as in soda and juice and stuff.
Yeah. More like they had a drink called Caribbean Cool, and they had a few new flavors. So they gave me like about 2-3 cases. And when my uncle come and pick me up, and I had a flavor that particular juice that up to this day it never released on the market. It was strawberry lemonade, and they was just testing it out, and they had it for that event. And they never ever let it out ever. They never sold it. They never made it anything.
Really?
It was a special occasion to me.
Oh, okay. So it probably didn't do well, that particular brand.
Yeah, it didn't. Well, to me it tastes good, but probably other people didn't like it. I graduated in 2013 at the time, and because of my living situation, the principal, she was like, Shane, you could do better. So I wanted to come back into the school and try again, basically try CXC, well, CSEC at the time. And she wanted to take me alone, right? Because she knows my situation, and she knows that I'm always trying. I used to keep out of trouble, minus the dollar parties and all the other events. And she brought me back into the school. So I was into school a year longer than usual. But because you didn't really want to make it look a kind of way, she had to bring in 9 other students as well from the previous year to kind of
second chance.
To kind of make it look like if it, it's not favoritism, it's just I just and well, I'm going into the origins as to where the St. Pepsi name come from. At the time, our school, they only sold 2 types of soft drink. They sold Red Solo and they sold Pepsi. Those were the only 2 soft drinks that they sold at the time because they had an agreement with PepsiCo at the time, and they would normally get Pepsi at a cheaper price than most of the other drinks.
Okay.
And what I would normally do is that outside they have some like park benches under a tree, and I would normally be outside alone. I was popular. Everybody know me as, the DJ boy, but
Yeah.
I wasn't really, I was always by myself. I wasn't really around people very much.
Like a loner.
Yeah, I was mostly a loner because I was always down in a laptop with a headset on my ears making music, and it's not really a thing that other people understood at the time because while everybody else in a classroom, everybody like with their friends, however, I was in a corner with my little laptop doing my little thing and whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And I would normally, make music and stuff. And at the time, there's a girl named Samantha that's had a huge crush on me, right? Because she know me, he's a popular DJ boy, so every now and then for lunch, like she would come and sit next to me, and she didn't know exactly, how to make music, but she was interested, and she always used to ask questions as, where's this and what is that? And I myself didn't know. But I was still, they're like, okay,
Fiddling around.
this is this and this is that. And she used to say, well, if you press this, you put there, it was a kind of, and after a while, over a few months, we became close, like really close, good friends.
Yeah.
And well, with every school and with every loner, there's always a bully, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a guy named Smokey, right? And Smokey. So well, that's his nickname. We used to call him Smokey because he was one of those guys who used to smoke in the back of the school and whatever. But Smokey liked this Samantha Gill, right? But Samantha didn't like him because he was delinquent, always smoking. He used to get suspended very often.
Yeah.
And he would come and basically terrorize me and try all kind of different ways to embarrass me in front of this girl.
Oh no.
And me being a quiet person, it aggravates after a while, and being a teenager and hormones raging and everything. One day I just snapped on him and I threw the bottle of Pepsi at him. And I don't know what kind of crazy flash reflexes this guy have, but he ducked, the bottle hit like the edge of a wall and bounced back and fly and soak Samantha down with all the Pepsi.
Oh no!
And at the time, our uniform was white, a white shirt and a plaid skirt, right? Her uniform was soaked in the Pepsi, right? And he basically, well, after a while, we had to go to the principal office. Smokey, as always, he got suspended for a few days. Samantha, I had to go up in the home ec room, the home economics room, in where that they have a mannequin with an exact copy of the uniform now. So we went up there and we had to take the clothes off of the mannequin, wash it in the machine, wait for it to dry it in the dryer, iron it out. And this process took a whole day process.
Wow.
So that was the first time that I have ever spoken to a girl in my life. And at that time, I was about 15. I didn't know anything about girls. I didn't know because I never used to talk to anybody other than Christian, right? Which my friend I used to go and do music by, other than him. But this was the first time that I actually spoke to a girl about something that wasn't nerdy or music related. It was like a normal conversation because we were up there in our room for the entire day. But it wasn't really a problem because that room was the only room at the time in the school that had cameras. So nothing frisky didn't happen. We were just talking and laughing. And after a while I realized that she's a cool person and but the rumor after a few days, I didn't see her. She didn't come to school for a little while. She didn't come to school for the rest of the week. That incident happened on a Tuesday. She didn't come to school until the next week, right? So the few days that she wasn't around, well, me, I on my bench, I went back the next day, which was the Wednesday, went back on the bench, producing my music and whatever. And one of the guys who used to hang out with Smokey, he was like, Shane, you're a pastor now? So I was like, what do you mean by as a pastor? So there's like, I hear you blessing people with Pepsi. So that is where the whole saying Pepsi thing come from.
Oh,
since that time, everybody in that little circle started calling me Saint Pepsi. And
Oh
the name
no.
just stuck for years and years and years and years and years into the future. Right?
What happened to
And
Samantha?
well, she came back out to school the next day, well, the next week.
Uh-huh.
And after that whole incident, due to the embarrassment and whatever, she never, our friendship kind of started to drift apart because she
Oh,
kind of felt bad,
Oh,
even though it was accidental.
yeah.
We kind of stopped talking, and she stopped coming to, hang out with me anymore. And then after a while, she just, drifted
faded
away and
away.
never really heard from her.
But you never got a chance to explain to her or apologize or anything? Like,
Yes, I am. For our graduation in 2014, I close because I was so nervous because I never spoke to her,
yeah.
and I had anxiety at the time because you see, like when it comes to girls, I was very anxious, and I didn't know how to talk to girls, and but when it comes to like large crowds or events, that was always easy for
It
me.
comes easy, yeah.
Yeah.
When it's like
Because
a
you know it.
one-on-one,
You know it.
it's like a one-on-one situation with just me and this girl, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of like 2 hours before the end of the graduation. I sit down and I woke up to her and I was like, I want to talk to you because I know after today I would probably never see her again. So, like we just sit down and talk, and we went outside because it was our graduation was at a hotel, and the hotel had a pool. And we went outside by the pool section. We pulled 2 chairs, and I sat down and I talked to her and tell her everything. And
Aw.
and she said that, I understand what was happening. And she said that the reason why is not because of the whole situation with Smokey. She said that, she kind of stopped hanging out with me because it basically made me a target for Smokey and for his friends to be bullying me.
Oh,
Because
look at that.
when I was alone, he never really used to come around me. He used to still watch me in the distance, and he used to be like, "Oh, Pastor, what is he seeing?" I used to hear him because they was loud. And he was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Pastor, what is he seeing?" Just being, but he never actually come and try to harass me physically or anything. He just used to just throw words. But
So
like,
she kind of did
yeah,
a good thing in a way by staying away because
Yeah.
he wasn't coming next to you and stuff. But
Yeah.
Juliet,
yeah,
what's the scene, right? What's the scene mean?
The scene
yeah,
means what's going on.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Scene.
yeah. So he kind of back off after a while.
Yeah,
He got expelled like about a month before the end of the school year.
yeah.
For he and his friends, basically they got a bag of eggs and they had it there and they leave it to spoil for a few days, and the egg got teacher car, and
Oh no.
the teacher had a dash cam, and she was basically able to see who did it and whatever, and most of them got expelled. So it kind of,
Wow.
he wasn't able to come to the graduation to kind of, make a big deal out of it or anything.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I talked to her, and she said that, I kind of stay away from me because Smokey was harassing you, and I didn't, it used to make you sad and miserable, and I know your situation. So, and at
Yeah.
the
Oh, she
time
was
I didn't have a
good.
fancy phone to communicate with her on Facebook or, and
Nowadays, how we do, yeah.
yeah, like back then it was more like the hardcore. Just I had like what they would call a Me Too phone. Like
Oh yeah.
basically, yeah, it didn't have any features. All you could do is just make calls, and meanwhile everybody else had Blackberries and BBM and everything. And
Yeah.
I just had like a regular cell phone, and I had her number. I still have her number up to this day, and it's the same number. And I just
Oh,
never spoke to her after that graduation. And
After
the night
that.
of the graduation, what kind of broke my heart is that she told me that, I always like you, and we could have been in a relationship, and it's because of Smokey, I didn't want to make anything bad, because imagine if you were just friends,
Yeah.
and he's Sarazi. So imagine if you was in a relationship, it might have be worse. He would have tried to beat you up, and
Or something, yeah.
yeah,
so
yeah.
But
she
did
said
you
that. Mm,
did you like her like that to reciprocate like after the graduation and everything? Not trying to, because we know you have a wife and all that, so we are trying to
yeah.
make a connection. But it's like, did you like her to that extent, or did you just appreciate the friendship?
Yeah, well, it was both, because I basically appreciated the friendship, and I had a crush. Well, I always had a crush on her. I always liked her at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Oh, it's so cute with the little romances.
I know.
I remember my first love. It was Marvin Johnson. And if you're listening, Marvin Johnston, he knows.
Yeah.
That's,
So
that's
sweet.
really nice.
Yeah.
so yeah. So it was a real, tense situation. And after I graduated from school, I worked a few places before I ended up at the radio station. I worked at um a place, a warehouse basically, where they would sell car parts. And me being a producer, I wasn't very happy to work there, because it was always they used to call me Matthews. It was always Matthews, go and get a belt and go and get a fan, go and get a bottle of oil and blah 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 blah.
Beneath
After a
you,
while,
right? Yeah.
after a while I was like, oh, this job, it's just, it was my first job, like my first official paid job when I turned 18.
Yeah.
And well, not having any parents and being adopted, the situation does go, when I turned 18, I had to leave. So I was basically bouncing around between friends. I stayed in a homeless shelter for
Really?
boys. I was kind of around. And when I
So let me just interject there before you forget what you're gonna say. So you mean when you turn 18, you're not with your adopted parents anymore? You could leave if you want, or you're supposed to leave?
No, it's not that I could leave or I was supposed to leave. She told me to leave because at the time, well, in Trinidad, we have a social welfare system in where that if you adopt a child and you are disabled or you're unable to take care of the child, they would pay you to take care of the child.
Oh,
so
man.
Me and my
kind of
sister,
like foster care over here.
Yeah. So me and my sister, at the time it was $1,500 TT per child every month.
Yeah.
Right. So what they will do is that they would send a social worker every 3 months to basically make sure that you're not abusing the child or you're not doing the child anything. And every month they would send a form that the child would have to put their fingerprint on. Well, if they're unable to write like 3-4 years, they would use their fingerprint. But if you're old enough, they basically have to sign it. You have to carry it to school, let the principal sign it, let the teacher sign it, and then bring it back in order for them to cash the check to get the money and whatever. So when I turned 18, she got the last check for me. She gave me about $200 or $300 out of it, and that was it. She basically told me, well, you're 18, you're a big man now, you had to leave. When I turned 19, I wanted to get out of the homeless shelter because they had a lot of rules. 10 o'clock is by bed, you had to do a lot of chores, you had to be studying all the time, you couldn't watch TV. It was real at the time, me being a young person, I wanted to go out online, I wanted to go out and have friends, fun, go to parties, all of these things, and it was kind of holding me back and
be a
like,
kid.
you couldn't be out.
Yeah.
You couldn't be out, right? And I told myself, well, I need to get myself out of this situation. So I got a job. I went out looking for jobs and I got a job at Radio Shack. And Radio Shack kind of better than the car warehouse, but
of course,
it wasn't, And at the time, I worked in Radio Shack for basically about 8 or 9 days, right? Because there was a girl, going back to me being anxious around females, well, girls.
Yeah.
It had a girl who started to realize that, I had anxiety problems because she would come just being friendly. She would come and speak to me and she'd be like, hi, how you going? And I would just freeze up. I wouldn't be able to talk. And there was a day that she came and she sat next to me and I don't know what happened. She just like, you're looking sad. Let me give you a hug. She gave me a hug and I woke up in the hospital. I kid you not. Right? I woke up in the hospital with an oxygen mask on my nose and 2 nurses standing over me. And one of the nurses, they were like, you all right? Right? Because I had a full-fledged anxiety attack and I literally passed out in the middle of a mall in Radio Shack. So my manager was panicking. She started to freak out. She started to call corporate. She started to call the manager at the mall. She started to call all kind of different people.
Because they're not used to it.
And she was like, and the girl who gave me the hug, she was like, I didn't do him anything, I don't know what happened. He just he just dropped. Well, we just Trinidad is just talking. She was like, he just dropped down, and I don't know what happened. So she started panic, and everybody in the store, because I was the only male, everybody, all the females in the store was panicking, like full-fledged, like they don't know what to do. And when it was time for me to come back out to work, the manager, she was like, well, everybody in the store is females, and I don't think this would be a good job for you. I am not firing you. I am not firing you, right? But you could resign and we will take that, right? So I was like, okay, no problem. And I was unemployed for about 2 months, and then I went around to different radio stations. I like working in jobs that is not for me, not making any sense. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go and apply to work in a radio station. So I was like, okay. I went to a radio station, 91.9, and I basically explained to them. Yeah, I basically explained to them, and I was like, at the time, well, I told them, well, my situation, staying in a homeless shelter, and one of the rules in staying in a homeless shelter, that you need to be employed, right? You don't have to give the homeless shelter any money, but you need to be employed, right? If you're over 18, right? And I told them, well, all right, it is a situation where that if I do not have a job, I wouldn't be able to stay in the homeless shelter. So they was like, all right, what you could do. So I basically listed off, I could DJ, I could do this, I could do that, and think, coming on the line, all the, and they were like, well, all right, here's this, right? We have an opening because we have a new live stream department. You do up a resume and come back the next day, and we will do an official interview and we will consider hiring you.
Oh, nice.
Right? So I came back the next day, drop off the resume, everything. And then I was waiting. And then the next week, which was the Monday, the manager at the time, one of the guys who does normally work in the live stream department, he didn't come out to work, he didn't call, he didn't say anything. So they called me and I was like, hey, we need somebody, right? We needed to come in. No. So I had to scramble. At the time, he was like, you have 20 minutes to reach here.
Wow.
Right? And it was like about 10 miles away. And I didn't have a car. So I basically had to go. At the time, I was staying in East Port of Spain. So I had to go through the entire Port of Spain with all the traffic, all the cars, all the people in 20 minutes. So I had to basically bathe, iron, put on clothes, get breakfast, rush everything and leave.
So how you make it in such a short time if you wasn't driving?
No. You made it?
I did in 21 minutes. I did. Right? What I did is that I went down, I basically ran straight across about half of Prince Street, and there's a part of Port of Spain called Woodford Square. That's where the Red House is. I went to the other side of the Red House, and I basically flagged down a car, and the driver was like, I am this car only going to the Queen's Park Savannah. So I was like, drive, I will give you my last $20 to drop me by the radio station. So the driver was like, nah, that small thing in a rush, you sweaty thing, come, let me go. And he dropped me right in front of the radio station, and I just run straight up the stairs. And as soon as I reached by the studio, the manager opened the door and he was like, I was now going to call you. Right? So he was like, hear this, right? He's like, there's your section here. Sit down. All you had to do is basically switch between camera 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. And whenever we go to commercials, you just turn the camera off, right? That's all you had to do. And if you could do that for me, you get the work, right? I say, all right, easy. And I was just switching between 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, commercial, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. And he was like, all right, cool, good. Yeah, all right. He's like, when you're done, come along and talk to me. And, we go work out salary and whatever.
All that stuff.
Sit down and thing. And he was like, yeah, well, all right, same time tomorrow, come through. But the next day I had more time to prepare and come down.
Yeah.
I remember that night, I didn't sleep for that entire night because I was so anxious. Right? And so when I reached the next day, I was sleepy. Right? I was sleeping on myself, and he was like, what happened to you? He was like, what happened to you? What happened to you? I was like, I'm real tired. I didn't sleep last night. Him now, what happened? Yeah, what my problem, so just hold up now. I was like, nah, I was like real excited for this job on whatever. And it's like, nah, nice small thing, I'll bring a coffee for you and thing. And after a while, I started to get accustomed to working the cameras.
Yeah.
And then what ended up happening is that the first guy that I think he got in an accident. So he was unable to work for a little while. And then when he came back out to work, they basically didn't have anywhere to put me. So they was like, well, all right. We have some religious programs that is basically happen in the late parts of the night, like overnight. So you will be in charge of that, right? So they basically put me in charge, but my shift would normally start at 6 p.m. and end at 5 a.m. on certain nights.
Wow.
Sometimes it would end midnight, sometimes it would end at 5. So after a while working the graveyard shift, I was able to gain enough money to get my own apartment, right?
Good.
Apartment. And that night I was so excited as well. And I remember the day that I moved in, I set up in my apartment and I cried because I was like, I went through all this in my life and I finally achieved something. I have my own place. Nobody can pull me out. I could do what I want. I could come when I want. I could go when I want. I could eat what I want. I could do whatever I want. I could sleep naked if I want to. It didn't matter. Right? And it was extremely small, but it was mine and I was comfortable. I didn't have no furniture. All I had was a chair and a mattress on the ground. And, I had a little kettle to boil water. And, and I had a little garbage bin to put my, garbage and whatever. It was a huge accomplishment to me.
Yeah,
and, over the years, after about 4 or 5 months, a night a DJ and a radio announcer was unable to come out to work because he said I can't remember what the excuse was at the time. And that night it only had 3 people in the entire radio station building. It had 5 floors, and on the 4th floor was the radio station, the studio and whatnot. And our George office was on that same exact floor. So our George got the call and he was like, these two guys not coming out too. So he was basically asking the manager if it have anybody else that they could get to do the show on air, right? So he was like, well, at the time they used to call me a small man, right? They was like, well, small man could do it, right? So the manager told our George that I'm not small man, the man who does be by the cameras and them, small man capable. So our George, this is the first time he ever spoke to me directly because bosses just be there up in a fancy office and they don't talk to nobody.
Oh yeah.
So he was like, all right,
give
small
orders.
man, right? All right, small man, right? I need you to do something for me. So when he said that I need you to do something for me, my anxiety started to act up again. I was like, oh my God, I do not want to pass out here. So it's like, I need you to do something for me. But our George is a man where he just speak real clear, but it does have a lot of long pauses in between. So when he stopped, I needed to do something and he just stopped. I was so scared. I'm in a room that have air condition blasting and I am sweating. When I tell you sweating, because I was like, I started thinking in my head that I probably miss a commercial, I'll probably do something and he's going to fire me. Because the only time I would just talk to you is when I talk to our employee directly is when he's going to fire you. So I started panic because I was like, this is my dream job. I don't want to get fired, right? So, right? So he was like, hear this, right? Go in our studio, do a show for me, right? 3 hours, 6 to 9. You know how to operate the console, you know how to play music, right? Don't let me down, right? I will watch you, I will supervise you, but I needed to run a show for me. I say, all right. I gone in the studio.
Your panic attack gone.
Right? My panic attack gone because I was like, all right, because if I panicking and I come on radio, people hear it. So it have all the cameras in the studio. It have people listening because it is basically show you like an average number of how much listeners it have on whatever. And I am in the studio and I am panic. I still sweating it, but I kind of compose myself and I was like, all right, small man, let me do this. So the commercial's playing, right? And when it reached down to the last commercial, it have a drop the Street 91.9 FM. And then after, I was like, all right, I had to stretch over my hand and play music. So I was like, this isn't making no sense. I can't sit down and play music at the same time, right? So I say, all right, here's what I'm going to do. And he, all this time, I was George in this, and I was George as a man, he would literally have on the darkest shades indoors, right? So we in the studio and he have his shades and he just standing there and watching me. And I still feel a kind of way, but it's not as bad. So I said, all right, let me play music. But here's the problem. I have never used this DJ program ever in my life before. So I didn't know what to do because I used to use virtual DJ and Serato was a whole different ball game to me.
Yeah,
so I didn't know what the hell to do. So after a while, I figured it out and I was like, all right, I could do this and thing. And then after he was like, he watched me and he was like, small man, so are you go play music whole night? What happened? You had to come and you had to talk. So I was like, okay, all right. So and I tried to impress him, so I play a little 1 or 2 hour judge in between, and then I put on the instrumental and I come on the radio and I was like, good night, Street 91.9 FM. This is Small Man on your radio. And if he take off the shades and he watched me like, if you see his face was like, oh my God.
It lit up.
Right, his face, he was in disbelief. His mouth, the only thing that didn't happen, his mouth wasn't open. But he literally take off the shades and he was like, oh my God. And I was like, you're listening to the Street 919 FM and the thing, this is the newest, youngest, hottest person on the Street 91.9 FM. We here to play music for the youngsters. All your old people take a back seat. And I was like, and it was a big deal. And George was like, oh my God. Then all right, small man, take down the hype a little bit, right? I was like, yeah, no problem. I know how to do it. I know it. And then he was like, and then I was like, well, we have some scripts here to read, we have some bills to pay, we have things to do, we are trying to feed, the thing, and I kind of make it, little hype, and I read all the scripts. I didn't make no mistakes. And then, there's a part where you had to read all the phone numbers for like events and contacts and whatever. And I run through all them numbers and them, and he was like, but wait now. And he was like, because every minute he would like kind of signal, and he'd be like, he's the first person I ever see ramble out them numbers and ain't make a single mistake. It only had 2 other people that used to run the numbers at the time, which was Precious. I think she's a soca artist as well, but she used to do like news and
used to work there,
right?
yeah.
And I run through all them numbers and he was like, good job. And I just make a little joke and I was like, so you're gonna get married? And I, yeah, he started laughing. Like, yeah, nice joke. Right? He was like, yeah, nice joke. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I went through the show whole night. And then the next time, well, the commercials came on and he was like, you see me do that? All right, you do good. But I needed to do something for me. You had to take calls. You can't play music and talk about yourself all night. You can't play music and talk about scripts and play commercial. You need to talk to the nation.
Wow.
So I was like, so when the commercials finished, I played like about 3 or 4 songs. And while the songs was playing, I was like, I'll be taking some calls, in the next hour. And when I said we taking some calls, about 10 seconds later, all 8 lines on the board light up. I was like, oh my, that increased my anxiety about 10 more again because I was like, oh my goodness, I am going to die. And I was judged again. He stand up, he was kind of lean back on the wall. And he stand up straight and he watched me like, all right, let me see how we're going to pull this one.
Yeah.
First call, right? The first call when I pressed the button was Mr. Christopher Tambu Herbert. He was like, Shane, look, my boy, I know you're that come on to be something. I'm glad to hear you on the radio. Ting. I know yes, my boy. I show you how to do everything, Let them know and thing. And he gave me a real forward. I say, hey, nah, you're on radio whole night and you ain't play none of my songs by waste that one.
Wow.
So I was like, all right. Thing, I would do a little calypso section for the older heads and them. And I was like, all right, no problem. Right? And then I was like, all right, so, okay, let me give a little 10-second breather and let me take the next call. The second call was my school principal. As soon as I issued, oh my God, shit.
They couldn't believe it.
Yeah, they couldn't believe my principal was the next call because the music teacher, Christopher, he called basically everybody in the school in that short space of time. Like whole night he heard me on the radio, he called everybody and he's like, hey, tune in, look Shane on the radio. And the next call was my principal. And she was, Shane, look my boy thing. I know I'm happy for you and I wish you all the best for you and I hope you come out. I know you're that turn out to be something big and thing. And then the third call, right? Everything going good,
Uh-huh.
Third call was this old miserable man that always had a problem with everybody. This man is to come on the radio and say, where Iowa George find this black uneducated dunce boy from?
No
And that
way.
just shattered my spirit. Well, it had a lot of more derogatory. It had the N-words and all. By the time he started with the N-word, I immediately just cut him off. Right?
Yeah,
And I
that's what
played
you're
their
supposed
music
to
run
do.
for a little while. And
Yeah.
Iowa George was like, don't study, right? He
Yeah.
does, think, don't let that discourage you. Just continue doing what you're doing. So you're going good. Don't let he discourage you. It kind of break my spirit a little bit. And I was like, nah, I know I'm going, if I had to do this, I'm going to get plenty of people like him. So I need to just suck it up and, let me go again. And I basically spent like about a whole half an hour taking calls and, causing a little stirring back and all, because at the time, the station is more like an older crowd. So they like to talk about politics, right? So I started them in the next hour, which was the second hour, I started them with the politics. So I was like, all right, I really don't remember at the time. I remember. I was like, do you think the government of Trinidad and Tobago is doing a good job at governing the country? At the time, I think the PNM was in power, right? And when I start with all of them, the whole line, the lines light up again. And them every time they answer the phone, everybody was like, no, I don't find you doing nothing. And they just was going all night. And the lines was blinking. And I was all right, get them a little break, get them a little breather, and let me hit them again.
Yeah,
right? And
so he
all
was enjoying it.
Right? And he was like, hit them again. And then after a while, he was like, small man, you had a good show tonight, boy. I was really impressed in what you do tonight.
Yeah.
And here we would do, right? Every Monday night, you come on and do what you had to do. And, I would pay a little extra just for doing that. Right? At the time, it was a little $200, onto the $700 a week I was getting. So every time every Monday night, so my pay basically went up from $700 to $900 a week. Right? And, he was like, well, the thing, you do what you had to do. And after a while, I started getting hang of it and we had to prepare a set, and, I couldn't basically be jumping back and forth. So I got a DJ to work with me as well, so it was easier for me. And, all the other days, what I would do is that I would still, even though I was on air and I was, the little hot youth man that was on the radio, my heart was always in producing music. So I would always, like after the show, I had the rest of the night and it was basically graveyard. It didn't have anything to do. It had an automation just playing music whole night. It didn't have anything to do. So I would leave the studio and I would go downstairs in the production room and where we do voiceovers and commercials and ads and whatnot. And I would go down there and work on editing music and producing music and whatever, because at the time I didn't know how to edit commercials or music. So I started to learn. I learned at the time the station manager at the time was Piper, right? He's a sound engineer and he basically showed me how to he basically showed me how to edit music and how to think vocals and how to clean it up and how to make the spaces smaller and all of these things. And he was so I was able to use his editing experience that he gave me over the years. And there was another guy who used to work there as well, Chris Beats, right? He would help me with the production side. So basically Piper would give me advice on the editing and Chris Beats would give me help on the production.
So you did a while. So I'm just gonna say this real quick. So we're coming close to 9 o'clock, right? So what we want you to do is everything else, summarize it to like a minute. For the questions, so we wouldn't go over because we had so many questions. But you answered like the majority of it.
I tell you.
And stuff like that. So
Shane, you need a book. You need a book.
Yes,
you really does.
You definitely need a book. I mean, it's really great experiences. And your thing with anxiety is like so many people go through this, but it was really nice to hear that you were able to overcome it in the radio station and control it, Yeah. But it's almost like, even though you in all the things that you went through,
you found a way to flip it, and it
Yeah.
flipped in your favor. God was really shining on your
Yeah.
life. So
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing. You need
After
to write that
everything
book.
he's
Though.
been through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, and I didn't even reach around to the carbon media stuff yet. So
That's what I wanted.
basically,
what I
in
wanted
summary,
to. Mhm.
I started a YouTube page because Chris Beats, he told me, well, you know, you're a real talent, you should start a YouTube page. So on the 7th of August is when I started, the 7th of August 2017, I started a YouTube page. And you know, over the years, well, after a while, you know, it was kind of hard in where I had to do all of the work, run the YouTube page by myself. And it was kind of disappointing in a way that whenever I did a remix and put it up, it would be kind of sad that, you know, I only get like 10 views, you know, 15 views. And then one day I uploaded a song called Everybody Jamming Your Gal by Young Brother, and I got 400,000 in like a few months. So that kind of bring back some encouragement. And then right after that, I uploaded Gunman in Your Hole. And I think that video stands at 1 million right now.
So how did you get your views? So with the views, right? Because I know when I had shared a video, you told me do this, do this, do this. So what blocks the video from being seen, especially on YouTube? We know that they block videos. So how did it jump?
Basically what people don't understand at the YouTube system, YouTube is basically a science, right?
Yeah.
The YouTube, when people talk about riding the wave, if you watch the statistics on any YouTube channel, there's a literal wave in where that you see the numbers go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
So as long as you figure out how to ride your wave, your YouTube page will be successful. When it comes to, there's different types of content, copyright claims. It have content ID claims, it have copyright strikes, it have copyright claims, it have a lot of different things in where that they will basically claim the audio, but the video would stay up. And then there's a section in where that they would claim the video and the money will go to them. And then there's a section where if they would claim, but the video will be muted. And then there's a section where they would claim the video and they would completely remove it. Right? So there's a lot of different things to go around. A few years ago, they implemented a security feature called child mode, meaning that they will ask if you want to set a video for kids or not for kids. When you set a video for kids, they remove some of the features in where that you're not able to comment, you're not able to turn on post notifications, you're not able to, and what they will do is that they would basically you won't be able to monetize the video, and they would basically narrow your video down to a very small crowd of, you know, young people, meaning that people over a certain age won't see the video. So they basically kind of limit the reach in a very significant way. And I did some research on it, and I set my entire channel to adults only. So people under 13 won't see my videos anyway. So it's not really, I'm not making content for children. So it's not really a problem to me. So but after a while, over the years and running the YouTube page, I was able to figure out the YouTube science in where that I was able to know what time to post this video, what time to post that video. And, you know, with seeing all the comments for guys saying, hey, I want this remix, how I could get in contact with you. I just said, well, you know, all right, let me just create a group and just put everybody in it. So that is where the WhatsApp group.
The gist of it. But I think that is so innovative because well, we interviewed Perk, right? We spoke to Perk and everything, and he told us, you know, what I'm trying to get who you said is your director, the one that you have, Kalu.
Oh, Kalu, yeah.
I'm trying to get Kalu on, or maybe get both of you guys to come on together next time or something like that. Just to get, because, you know, the youths of today, even though they're younger than you, but it's like the youths of today, they're doing so much.
They are.
There's some very talented ones,
Yes. And, you know, we interviewed a couple of producers, and the same thing that you're saying, the science about it and how they started. A lot of people started when they were younger. Like one person, I think Casey from Precision, said he started when he was like 11 years old or younger.
That was his first beat. His first thing was at 11. He got paid.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I mean, I'm glad in a long-winded breath you were able to tell your full story of
Yeah,
what
and
happened to you.
I still didn't finish. It still have plenty more things to
Like
do.
I said, you need to
Plenty.
write this book.
Yes.
Yeah,
But we
it's
will
He
have
had
you
us
on.
hanging on his every word. Like, oh my God.
yeah.
You just dropped all these nuggets in between. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
But
Amazing.
how is your anxiety now? How are you able to control it? There's certain things you're able to do. Do you have to go to like therapy for certain things?
I still have a social worker. Because of the environment that I came from
Yeah.
and my situation, my living situation, they appointed me a social worker to basically guide me so that I don't fall into gangs or or
Yeah.
any and well, now I'm engaged, so I eventually got over the anxiety when it comes to
Of
females as
course.
well.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
So
congratulations.
I only had like in my entire life over 3 relationships, but
Yeah.
with her, she was the first person, she knew that she would sit down. What people would do is that when I have anxiety attack, they would panic, making my anxiety even worse. And
Word.
the difference
Yeah.
between her and everybody else is that she'd basically sit down and she'd be like, be calm down, take deep
Oh,
breaths. Meanwhile, while everybody else panicking, she was the person to kind of get me to calm down.
calm you
I'm not
down.
going to say anything, you'll be all right,
Yeah.
and after a while, she kind of, even to this day, whenever I have anxiety problems, she would sit down and she would talk to me and she'd be like, calm down, you'd be all
Yeah.
right. I
Oh.
was able to, and that's why we soon to get married. But the whole
Oh,
coronavirus pandemic closed down everything, so
yeah.
Yeah.
we can't even register, everything
Right.
is real
It's
difficult. And when we
hard.
went recently, they said, come back next year. So gotta
Wow.
wait until next year. But
Wow.
I got control, and anxiety is a small part of because it's a larger medical condition. I have a condition called borderline personality disorder, right? And
Okay.
anxiety is just a small little piece of
Piece
that
of
Right.
it.
entire,
Okay.
it's the most difficult part of the disorder. But
Yeah.
what basically is that how people would have like a rainbow spectrum type thinking, in where that
Yes.
they think about different things. With me, the way how I think is that I think basically black and white. It's
Black and
either
white.
yes or
No in
no.
between.
If somebody tell me maybe, or I will think about it, I would have a breakdown because my brain don't know how to process maybe, because maybe is in between. I don't know what maybe means. Maybe is yes, maybe no, maybe I
No.
don't know. So
Yeah.
that is something that I've developed because my adopted parents, they were always yes or no, this or that. There was
Mm.
never, they never allowed me to express myself as a child, but it was real difficult. I have a lot of other stories about, that entire disorder part of it as well. So I have a lot
Yeah.
of different parts of my life that I could go on for hours,
Yeah. But
Wow.
what I
Yeah.
would do, because I was a counselor, I was a residential counselor at one time for 8 years. So we took care of a lot of people who had, if it wasn't anxiety, it was multiple disorder, it was depression, schizophrenics, you name it, that came out
Yeah.
from the hospital. So if you don't mind, at some point in time, we'll have you come back and you would be able to speak about some of those things.
Yeah.
It helps people to hear that,
I
it's a
was
success story in itself.
Yeah, it
But
was real
but I
difficult.
must say, I must say that, it's a pleasure, not just a pleasure, but I'm glad that you're able to talk about it, because some people
Yeah. They
won't
keep
talk
it
about it.
secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I am open with it.
we want to make sure that you want this out there before before we put the video out there, that is okay with you. If once we
It's
do
okay with
it,
me. It's okay. It's
okay.
okay. Because I
Yeah.
was on radio. I was on radio talking about all of this, and people used to be like, look, the madman, what is he saying, it was, I'm not a person where I would keep it secret, because I'm not a violent person, meaning that my
Yeah.
disorder wouldn't make me attack somebody,
Yeah,
It
it's a different disorder.
is
Yeah.
that it will convince me to hurt myself, meaning
Right.
because the way how borderline personality disorder is that it's basically two personalities in one. So I would basically fight with myself. So I would think bad things about myself. I would feel down for no reason, because I basically thinking that the other half of me is a bad person, and it doesn't, how to put it, is that if I go through any emotional trauma, it will basically manifest itself and come out. And at the time, my adopted parents used to call it the spirit, so it's a big deal. But now I have control over it. I cannot directly communicate with it like other mental disorders, but I can feel it's
when it's
like
coming.
its feelings. I could feel when it coming.
Okay.
So like, say for instance, if I get in an argument, is where I would feel it coming, and I had to walk away and be like, well, I had to take some time to myself and
take a breather.
And
Right.
The other time it will come out is if I drink alcohol. Like
because you're not able to control your emotions. So let me ask you a quick question back to Carbon Media Group. Is there anything you want to tell people out there, because our time's going now? So is there anything you want to tell people out there as far as how they could join, where they can find you, find the links, and just like 2 rules that you have when joining the group?
Well, with the rules, when it comes to joining the group, I only have 2 heavily enforced rules. Well, I would say 3. The first one is that you have to speak English, right? That is the first rule. You can be from anywhere in the world, you have to speak English. The second rule is that no private messaging, right? Because there's a time where we had I used to call it the pandemic of the plus 91. Plus 91 is basically Indian people from India, and it had an invasion of scammers, and it was just spamming the group with all kind of different links, and it was just really bad. And then there was one that spam everybody in the group at the same time. So I don't allow people like area codes from India. The third rule is that no begging, because there were guys that came into the group, they don't communicate, they don't talk to anybody, but they always want something, but they never contribute, right? That is, and well, the current group that is currently active, that group, the link is not available, but I have a second group, Carbon Media Global 2. The link is supposed to go live on the 1st of November on the YouTube page, so that in every video after November the 1st, you would see the link in the description for every video moving forward. If anybody wants to get a link early, or if they want to join the link early, I think there's about 1 or 2 videos that currently have the new link up right now. But if you want to contact me, you can contact me at Saint Pepsi _ on Instagram, Carbon Media Trinidad and Tobago on YouTube, and JJ Matthews on Facebook. That is my personal Facebook page. You can add me on that page. I have a Reddit page, and I have a lot of other things that are really
pages. So what we'll do is we will put the main information at the bottom of the screen, and everybody will be able to see it there, and they'll be able to add you, Saint Pepsi, when they watch the video to get all the information. But we want to thank you. Juliette, did you have any more questions?
No, because he's covered so much, such a vast amount of knowledge, and I really appreciate your openness. You were very entertaining. And I loved everything about this interview. I wish we had more time so that we could just let you go on and on. I loved it.
We are gonna have you come back on. We know you have so much to say, and any one of our guests that have a lot to say, or you're able to educate people out there as far as YouTube and how to get their music out to you. We want to know about that. Some other little things. So we would contact them, and we'll talk about that behind the scenes, but we're gonna have you back on.
So thank you so much. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. And I can't wait. I know the viewers will not be able to wait until we get you back again. So just in case you're wondering, Is this a maybe? No, this is a yes, son.
Yeah.
It's definitely a yes, because he has so much to tell us as far as, you know, getting your music on and so forth. And then it's more to talk to you about, to communicate and reach out to you so they could get some more information, right? We don't want to give them everything all at once.
No, just little.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, listen,
Keep
from
stepping on
Table Talk.
splinters.
Well, from Table Talk, people, we just want you to like, subscribe, and share this interview with everyone. We'll definitely be getting Shane back on our show, and sorry, I should say Saint Pepsi. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was nice being on his show.
Yes.
You too.
Thank you
Have a good
so
night.
much.
It was a pleasure having you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Good night. Take care.
Good night. Table Talk.